What's up, guys? I got another fire video coming for you. Today's video is going to be on this 2016 Dodge Dart. This will be the first Dodge Dart I've ever driven, and I'm very excited to drive these because I want to see what all the hullabaloo is about with these things. It's going to be my usual in-depth tour, so let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, we're going to start off, as usual, the exterior. These things are kind of polarizing in terms of styling. I think they look good. I think they're the right amount of aggressive. I think the proportions are pretty good. I know they're based on an Alfa Romeo. If I had to guess, I would say it's the Alfa Romeo Giulietta, which I'm pretty sure. It's got these nice, I'm assuming these are powder coated wheels. They might be painted, I'm not sure. But it's got disc brakes all the way around. The proportions are really good, I think. It's a good-looking small car, just the right amount of aggressive. It's got the corporate Dodge of this era light bar going across the back. I'm pretty sure they all still have that. This kind of baby Charger, kind of sort of baby Dodge Charger down the rear 3/4. As you can see, it's white. It's missing a center cap on this wheel. We've got a bit of an ouchie up here. The headlights are still nice and clear, which is good. You've got the Dodge corporate crosshair grille. And overall, I think it's a good-looking car. Definitely a hell of a lot better looking than the Fiat 500, or the Fiat 500X, or the Fiat 500L. Let's go and check out the interior now. So the interior is where most of the controversy with this car starts. And I can kind of see where everybody's coming from, because there is quite a bit of hard plastic and not luxurious materials in here. But it is an economy car. But that being said, I guess it was behind economy car standards of the time. Got hard plastic door uppers. Got a carpeted portion in the center of the door. Soft touch armrest. Soft touch dashboard binnacle. The rest of the dash is all plastic. Got the shifter, parking brake, some cup holders. Got this gauge cluster, which I think looks really good and gives you a lot of information. In that little center screen there, we got a speedometer, your trip odometer. Yeah, don't tell me that the parking brake is on. I know the parking brake is on. It needs an oil change, apparently. It actually doesn't need an oil change, it just hasn't been reset. For God's sake, no messages. That needs to be reset. There, it's reset. Settings, outside temperature. This car's got almost 108,000 miles on it. Speedometer, and that's your trip. I do like that it has a digital speedometer. That to me is cool. And then in the middle, you got the head unit. This thing does not have the Uconnect system. It does not have the 8.4-inch touchscreen. Instead, it's got this radio. And it's a pretty basic radio, especially by 2016 standards. It has, I believe it has auxiliary. There's a USB port in here somewhere, but it does not have Bluetooth. And beyond that, it's just your basic radio, clock, presets. This button right here is how you access your aux or USB. And then below here, I'm assuming this is your audio controls if you have the USB connected, and then you got volume and tune. Pretty basic radio. Overall, it's a pretty basic interior. You do have all your power windows, locks, mirrors, your illumination control right there. This corporate Dodge steering wheel, which you can find on a Charger or a Durango or anything else. Got cruise control over on the left, and your phone control, and the controls for your screen off on the right. Over on the passenger side, you got a glove box. Got some nice storage cubbies in the doors. That one has an umbrella in it. Got a seat, which are nicely contoured and sink into them quite well. Coming down the center console, you've got these nice and basic HVAC controls, fan speed, temperature, one-touch AC, and then your different zones. And then above the temperature, you got traction control and hazards. About as simple as it gets. And on the right, you have your rear defrost, and on the left, you have recirc. Nice and simple. In this little cubby here, you have a little tray that comes out and 12-volt power outlet. Then you got the shifter, which is just a shifter. Nothing unusual about that. Parking brake cup holders. You got this nice big center console, which is nice. And it is squishy leather, which feels nice. You got visors. They both have mirrors, then map lights, and then your manually dimming mirror. And I believe that these things are microphones for your hands-free telephone. Around the radio and speedometer binnacle, you do have this nice piece of plastic. I'm not sure what effect this is trying to have. Maybe it's just trying to be piano black plastic, but it does look nice. It definitely breaks up the other black plastic. It's nicer looking than that. So let's go ahead and check out the back seat. Now the back seat is just a back seat. It's a reasonably decent sized opening. It's a relatively okay amount of space in here. This seat is not all the way back, and my knees, if I do this, my knees are up against the back of the seat. Do have a good amount of headroom though. The door panel gets the same treatment back here, hard touch, nice carpeted soft touch over here. Got this nice little tray here. You do have map pockets on both of the back seats, got on the passenger side, and there is no armrest. And I believe this seat back folds in one piece. Pretty standard back seat. You do have map lights back here and grab handles. Pretty basic, but it gets the job done, and the seats are reasonably comfortable. Now let's check out the trunk. To get into the trunk, there's a little button underneath the dashboard right here, or you can hit the trunk popper button on the key, and then the trunk pops open. And it's full of stuff right now. There's a lot of bowling balls in it, because you don't know this car's a bowler. But looks pretty big. Goes pretty far back there. And it's got the cheaper gooseneck hinges, but it's not too bad. Probably comparable to the trunk on my Honda Accord. Now, all that's left to do is to drive this thing. Actually, no, I gotta show you the engine first, my bad. So there are a few different engine options you could get in one of these things. I know you could get a 1.4 liter turbo 4-cylinder and a 2 liter 4-cylinder. And the 2 liter is what this car has, and the 2 liter, I believe, is what most of the Dodge Darts that you'll still see on the road are going to have. I know the 1.4 multi-air had an issue with the multi-air module that would brick itself, and that module is like $1,200 or $1,500 to replace, and that took a lot of these cars off the road. There's also a few different transmissions you could get. You could get I believe you could get a 9-speed auto, a 6-speed auto. The 6-speed was a Hyundai transmission, and a 6-speed manual. But this one's got the 2 liter. Looks reasonably serviceable under here. Got your coolant right there, oil dipstick, fill cap. Not sure what that is. Washer fluid. Got your hood prop rod right there. And then battery, which is under a nice blanket. And then this looks like the ECU right here. And this thing runs well. These motors are reliable. It's definitely the better of the engine options that you could get in these things. And now, all I have left to do is to drive this thing. All right, we're driving the Dodge Dart. I have wanted to drive one of these things for a long time. These things have a bad reputation, and I don't really understand why. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of this interior isn't that nice, and with the other motors and transmissions, the reliability isn't that great. But you just got to get the right one. The right one, the good car to own, good car to drive. So, and this is the right one. And most of the ones that are still on the road are the right one. I'm not certain of this, but I'm pretty sure that all the ones that have the multi-air engines have all the multi-air modules have all bricked, and nobody wants to pay the $1,500 or $2,000 it costs to get that module replaced. So all the ones that you're going to see are going to be the 2-liter engine, the 2-liter NA engine, and the Hyundai 6-speed auto, which is what this car is. And the stick shifts. They're sold a lot of these stick shifts. I apologize about this camera angle. This car does not have a ton of usable windshield space. If I move my phone any further to the left, the camera is being blocked completely by the rearview mirror. And I have the rearview mirror tilted as much as I can out of the way, so it's out of the camera's view and you can still see a lot of it. And right now I can't see anything out of the rearview mirror. But it is what it is. We will adapt and overcome. So this thing has the 6-speed auto. It is a Hyundai transmission, and it's good. It does exactly what you want it to do. You know, it shifts fine. There's not 6 gears. There's a good number of gears. There isn't too many, too little. And it's good. It's definitely a lot more reliable than the 9-speed auto that was either a Chrysler design or came from some other place. And most of these things are going to have this 6-speed auto. And this 2-liter engine, I believe it was the base engine, but it ended up being the most reliable engine. And I believe it makes 161 horsepower. And somewhere in that vicinity for torque. I'm not sure. But it's definitely the most reliable out of all the engines that came in this thing. If I were to buy one of these, and I have considered buying one of these, I would definitely try to find one with a 6-speed manual. But that's just me. That's because I want 3 pedals. The shifter, if you push it over to the right, has the manual shift ability by moving it up and down. And it's interesting, you push it up to downshift. And every time, if you try to downshift while it's in first gear, it'll beep at you and tell you shift not allowed. That's funny. It shifts pretty reasonably quick. I mean, it's definitely not a performance car transmission. It doesn't shift like a dual clutch or anything, but it's reasonably responsive for shifting from the console. You know, I'm not doing like canyon driving or anything. I bet you if I asked it for a downshift in a fast canyon driving scenario, it would be like, it would have problems. But it's not bad. See, give it a downshift. Nice. The engine doesn't have a ton of power, but it's got enough. Slap it back into drive. And it's reasonably quiet in here. We're only going 38 miles an hour. I love having the digital speedometer. I wish every car had a digital speedometer. I don't know why every car doesn't have a digital speedometer, and I know more and more of them are getting digital speedometers, but I love having the digital speedometer. This car feels reasonably solid and well built. which is good considering that the owner of this car lives in an apartment complex with a lot of speed bumps. So it has to endure a lot of speed bumps, but it still feels tight in here. The steering is pretty precise. Not a whole ton of feel, but it's reasonably precise, which is good. And there's no squeaks or rattles or anything. And it does feel well made in here. Everything feels solid. The build quality is not bad. The problem with the interior of this car, I'm sorry, I'm looking into the sun. The problem with the interior of this car is that the materials aren't the greatest, but they're really not that horrible. I've definitely been in worse. I would floor it, but we're coming up to a red light, which is annoying. I do want to floor it. So, after driving this thing, now I drove it for a short period. I haven't really lived with this thing. I can tell you that I don't understand why people hate these things. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It does exactly what you need it to do. I mean, yeah, it's a little annoying that it doesn't have things like Bluetooth and a backup camera, but plenty of these things do have backup cameras. And there's a little bit of a gap here, so I'm gonna floor it. It's not bad. It definitely makes a lot of power up top. You know, it definitely, between like 5 and 6,800 RPM, definitely makes a good amount of power. And I think it makes a good noise as well. But going back to what I said, you know, this thing's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. If you are going to buy one, and I do recommend buying one, make sure you try to find one with the 2-liter engine and in the Hyundai 6-speed auto, unless you want to get a stick shift. But I would buy one. I could see myself owning one of these things. I like this car. But you guys know me. You know I like everything. But just wait for the day I get my hands on a Ford EcoSport. And with that, it's going to do it for this video. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I'll try to keep up the banging content. And if you like what you saw here, please subscribe. My goal is to have 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I know I'm not going to be able to do that if I keep taking hiatuses like I have been, but I'm going to try to keep up the content. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.